Hi, welcome back to another episode of Look Ma No Hands. My name is Linda, and as with every week, I will be talking about what I'm wearing, what I'm stitching, what I'm reading, what I've been watching, and I will finish things off with a segment I call Fancy Footwork. So, this week what I'm wearing is a 4-square granny poncho. The main color, the gray color, is Keira Simply Soft yarn, and the other two colors are the same to each other but different from the Keira Simply Soft. They have a similar texture, a similar feel, but I don't remember the brand of yarn. I know it was an off-brand. It wasn't like any of the common big box brands. So I like the color scheme, the kind of icy blue and then the navy and the gray kind of has a very wintry feel to it. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. Oh, and I have like a little drawstring to kind of cinch the neckline up or kind of hold the neckline from stretching out too much. And on the back, let me see if I can turn around to show. By the collar on the back, I put a half granny square just to make the neckline a little less open so that it fits better for me. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. So this week I've been working fairly exclusively on the short picnic blanket. I feel like that's a misnomer because there's nothing short about this blanket. It's been taking so long for me to get this done, but I'm in the home stretch, the final, I think 3 repeat sections. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. So I'll do a little bit of stitching now, and like I said, it's been a time working on this blanket. It is a really pretty pattern. I really like it. The description on the pattern says that it is kind of mimics gingham, and I agree with that. The fillet section does give that kind of a gingham effect to it. I love the bright color of this yarn, but doing a project in all one color is very boring for me. I think if this project could have been done in more than one color, it wouldn't feel so boring. Changing colors kind of makes me feel like the project is moving along faster, whether it is or it isn't. I feel like racing to the next color gives the illusion that I've finished something. Doing the same stitches over and over in the same color makes it kind of feel like the never-ending story, where it just keeps going and going and going. I don't see the progress. I mean, I do. I see that the blanket is getting bigger. There's more fabric here to manage, but to my eye, because it's all the sameness, it feels very monotonous. have been trying to think of ways to photograph the blanket when it's done to kind of show it off, since it was such a big project. I don't want to just throw it across the bed or lay it out on the couch. Since it says it's a picnic blanket, I'm trying to get creative with how I'm going to take pictures of it. The weather is getting nicer, so when I have a nice day, I will probably take it outside and do pictures with it outside. So that's that this week. Like I said, not very exciting, not very interesting, just the same old, same old. Hopefully next week I'll have some new projects on the hook, and this one will be completely finished, completely done, and in the history books. All right. This week I've been reading a couple of books that are part of a series. The series started with the book called Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. It is a YA fantasy in which the main character, Jacob, is kind of like heir to a grocery store chain. His grandfather is aging, and his parents seem to think that Grandpa is senile, and things that he says don't make sense to them, but he's told stories to Jacob so many times that Jacob believes what he's saying to be true. And ultimately he finds out that Grandpa was not off his rocker, and a lot of what Grandpa was saying takes him on quite an adventure. A person that you think is a friend or someone who cares for Jacob turns out to be kind of a villain. It was a good story, and kept me interested throughout. I was definitely excited to get a hold of the second book in the series because, of course, as all series do, the first book left off on a cliffhanger. So I immediately went to the library to check out the second book in the series, and the second book proves to not be disappointing. Like, the adventure just picks right back up where they left off. I think a big thing about my enjoyment of the story is picking up the second book immediately after the first. I have a hard time getting back into a story after being away from it too long. So I definitely like the fact that this book is not a newer book, and I didn't have to wait to get a hold of the second book in the series. But I'm about 68-70% of the way through the second book, and I definitely am enjoying it. Powering through, like, it's taken me like 3 days to get to this point, so it really is a good read. I think there's like 3 or 4 more books in the series, so I'll definitely be picking those up and continue on with the story, because I want to know like where the adventures go. I can definitely see places in this story where new characters are coming in and new pieces of the storyline are kind of unfolding, so I know the story definitely continues, and it just kind of takes you in many different directions. So this is going to be a good read to continue on with. I have to say it was definitely a good departure from the wacky romance novels I was reading. Just they weren't doing it for me. So this book, I think, is a little bit more my speed, a little bit more the style of things I like to read. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I just like junior novels and YA better than like the deep YA romance type stuff. I like more fantasy, where it's actually fantasy, less romance and more like action adventure kind of fantasy. So this is my jam. I'm digging it. All right. This week, I've been watching much of the same as previous weeks. Got to get in my daily dose of General Hospital. We've been watching Shifting Gears and all that stuff that we've been watching the past few weeks. Thursday night, I'm back in the groove of my Thursday night lineup. Thursday night on ABC is Dr. Odyssey, 911, and Grey's Anatomy. I've been watching Grey's Anatomy since the beginning, so I'm not going to stop now. I've definitely been anticipating the season opener since the end of last season. I was just like on the edge of my seat. Things definitely panned out the way I thought they would, so that's always fun to have, you know, the prediction come true. But yeah, Dr. Odyssey is a show that was new in the fall that the whole family has kind of been watching, and it's very far-fetched. I'm sure there's nothing even remotely close to being realistic on this show, but it's a fun watch. We enjoy it, even if it is totally out there, and the concept is pretty wacky, but we enjoy it. It's kind of like medical drama meets vacation horror stories. I don't know. It's a fun show to watch. And I was a big fan of 911 when it was on the Fox network. So when it got moved over to ABC, I was glad that they didn't cancel it altogether. I really enjoy that show. I've enjoyed that show pretty much since close to the beginning of when the series began. So yeah, I'm glad that it's gotten picked up by ABC and gets to continue its life on the airwaves. My son and I have been watching a couple episodes of Who's the Boss with Tony Danza. When I was a kid, I loved watching that show. So I told him, we gotta watch it, at least one episode. Come on, you gotta do it. So he watched one episode and he's like, this is very interesting. Definitely gives insight onto like culture of the 80s. So yeah, he's watched maybe like 4 or 5 episodes this week with me. So that's always fun. And then our evening watch of Pop Culture Jeopardy. The host, Colin Jost, I think is his name, referred to Pop Culture Jeopardy as the Jeopardy for people who don't read. And I thought that was hilarious because my son, who does not like to read, is a huge fan of pop culture Jeopardy. So we got a real kick out of that. I've always loved Jeopardy, but I also like to read. It doesn't matter, like magazines, newspaper, books. Reading has always been a big part of my life, and I feel like I have a lot of trivia knowledge in my mind from the various things that I've read because I read just things all over the place, magazines that I like to read, Discover Magazine, National Geographic, pretty much anything in print. I'll read at least one edition of it. So yeah, I have, like I said, lots of useless, well, maybe not useless, but random, there we go, lots of random information just floating around in my brain waiting to be on Jeopardy. So yeah, that's something else we've been watching. And then we picked out a movie this week that was on Prime, I think, called Begin Again, starring Mark Ruffalo and Keira Knightley. In this movie, both of their characters have been experiencing like really bad relationship issues and some career issues. The character played by Keira Knightley is a musician and a songwriter, and so she doesn't really like to perform. She says she prefers more of the songwriting part of things, but one of her friends gets her to do an open mic thing, and she does it reluctantly, and that's when she meets with Mark Ruffalo's character, who is a music producer. He hears her playing and loves the song, and just like gets very passionate about like this has to be like a thing, like we have to make this into a demo, we got to do it. And she was not on board at first, but then as he kind of hounds her and works really hard at getting her to agree to that one song, it kind of evolves and becomes quite a dramatic project that they both really enjoyed working on, and it's like a passion project that really helps drive the story of the movie. So we really like that, and I said to myself, like, how did I miss this movie? I love Mark Ruffalo. Keira Knightley's pretty awesome. How did I miss it? Because it's even like a concept that I would have loved in terms of like the music in the movie and just the whole story. Like, what happened? How did I miss this movie? It was so good. So yeah, I definitely recommend that one. It was just very easy to follow, very lighthearted. Well, I shouldn't say lighthearted because there were some kind of heavy topics in the movie, but it was just a great movie that just portrayed the ups and downs of how life happens, and if you're patient, you can take really crappy events and turn them into really awesome things. So, like I said, it was just a really fun movie to watch, and you really do get a good sense of the characters, and like they're enjoyable characters even with their flaws. So definitely recommend that one. It's a good watch. Okay, this week for Fancy Footwork, I have you set up in kind of like my lounge space, part of my art studio, yarn studio, everything studio. When I kind of relax and hang out with my son, we kind of hang out up here. There's a TV off camera on this side. There's a small sofa off camera on that side. So, and then I'm sitting on what used to be his old twin bed before we redid his bedroom with a full-sized bed. So we can just hang out up here sometimes. So today what I'm going to do is change the sheets on the bed. I thought it would be just kind of a cool thing to show how I do yet another mundane household task. So what I'll be doing is kind of tossing things around, tossing the pillows off to the side by the little sofa. I have some stuffed animals and things off to the side here that I'll toss off to the side as I'm changing the sheets. So here we go. I'll even introduce you to my little friends. So this guy is Guacamole. This is a Build-A-Bear that my son Tim got when he was probably like 5 or 6, but I like to hang out with it. I believe he named this one Princess. Princess is naked right now, but usually she has on cute little dresses and outfits and stuff. And I have my Scentsy buddy, Kermit the Frog. True story, when I was a little girl, I used to say that I wanted to marry Kermit the Frog. So now I have my Kermit the Frog buddy that I hang out with every day. Just a pillow. And then this is just a little Valentine buddy that I got with some candy this year. No name for that guy yet. So this pillowcase has a zipper somewhere. Here it is. And these zipper pulls are not easy. Keep lots of pillows on the bed. I just like to have pillows and pillows. It's just comfort. This is another zippered pillowcase. This one's being stubborn. blankets. It is still winter time, so lots of blankets on the bed. This is a comforter intended for a daybed. I use it as a cover on the twin size mattress and then just cover up with the extra blankets that I have. And of course it's purple because, you know, purple. Okay, that part is done. And I don't think this time I'm putting this big old beast of a blanket back on. But I do like this one. So after I wash everything up, I'll put that back on. And I like this one. So after I wash everything up, that will go back on. Now the pillow shams are difficult to put on. I really work up a sweat putting the bed back together. If anybody knows an easier way to stuff these things back together, you can let me know. Okay, that's one. 4 more to go. Whew. That's a workout. I'm going to do this one down here. Might be a little easier. one more pillow sham. Okay. Ooh, like I said, I really break a sweat doing that. But that's how I change the bed sheets and the pillowcases on the small bed. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Look Ma No Hands. I hope some of the things you saw today maybe inspire you to pick up your hooks and start a new project. Be sure to let me know what you're reading. I love to hear about your favorite books and what kinds of books you're interested in. Have you seen any good movies lately? Watch any good TV shows? Just let me know. Drop a comment down below and we'll keep the conversation going. See you next week.